Hey guys, I am EJR and this is Adult Late. Today we're gonna talk about books. Easy book or hard book? It's not gonna be a review of books specifically, but I want to discuss if an easy book or a hard book is better. Let's get into it. I have two books with me today. One is Peak. This is from Dr. Marc Bubbs, and it's about health, nutrition, recovery, and mindset. It's a pretty loaded book. You see, it's also not very thin. Then I have nutrition. I mean, there's not even the author on top of it. The author is Simply. Simply is just, I would say, a collection made from, I guess, this DK. Yeah, so it said DK for the curious. And they have books on pretty much any kind of topic. So you want to know about neuroscience, or you want to know about psychology, you want to know about medicine, engineering, whatever, physics, you name it. The key to these books is that they make it as simple as possible. So it's pretty much for almost a 3 years old. Well, maybe not a 3 years old, but like a 5 years old or 10 years old. What I want to say is like they're so easy that it's impossible for you to not understand the topic. All right. So those are the examples I will have today for making my point. Please do not take this as a suggestion to read either Simply Nutrition or Peak by Marc Bubbs, but as just an example. All right, I will start with Simply Nutrition. This book is, as I said, very basic, easy to understand. The language, you don't really have to squeeze your brain too much to understand anything, and it's full of pictures. Yeah, I said pictures. Sounds a little bit like a kid's book, but it's not. It's very serious, but it's very good that you have pictures that explain you the basics of biology. Maybe you didn't study that in high school, not a problem, but it gives you really the chance to grasp the concept. And I mean, it's pretty much what you need to know on the single topics. Also, it has all topics about nutrition. That is really good. It's made by authors who are professionals in this field, and you're pretty sure that the information is correct, fact-checked, but of course you can always fact-check it yourself. This book, it's ideal if you're a beginner or if someone who doesn't want to waste time. Why I have it? Well, I can keep it in the kitchen whenever I have a doubt. For example, which kind of fat is best to use in my dishes. Sometimes I forget. Yeah, of course I know the basics as well, but it's useful to have a manual and to open the manual whenever you need it. All right, then let's go to Peak. Well, this is a very thorough book. As I said, it has a lot of in-depth analysis. The concepts are really advanced. It's full of scientific studies, detailed explanations, values, standard deviations, graphs. Really, it's all about science. So if you want something very deep, very specific, you have to go for something like this. The downside is that sometimes, if you don't have experience in that specific field, I don't mean you have to be a scientist. Maybe you never experienced running at the maximum power. You don't know what does it mean. So when he explains the details on how the oxygen is measured, I mean, it gets boring. I'm sorry for saying that, but it does. So I think there's 2 tips I can give you on choosing the right book. First of all, be honest on your knowledge level. Are you someone who never reads a book? Well, then it will be hard to read a hard book. Is it something that you do on a daily basis? For example, I love to read at least half an hour a day in the morning, doing my breakfast, and super fresh. But I'm not going to read these kind of books before to go to bed. That's just not something meant to be. So you have to consider this. Then you have to consider your goals. Do you want to have basic knowledge and then build up on that? Or do you want to go deeper? Maybe you already have that information. You need to have the nitty-gritty details because you have to advance. You have to step up a notch. Then definitely go for something big. Go for a pick or whatever other book you find that it's science-based with a lot of research. You can fact check. You can read the research papers yourself. Then it's going to be great. However, it could also be useful to have both kind of books. If you're someone who is not used to read, definitely you have to start with something easy, like Simply. But you can also go gradually towards something more difficult. And this is important because once you progress with your journey, you really need to get more knowledge and deeper understanding. Then what I suggest is to really apply everything you read to your fitness journey. And as I said before, I was getting so bored by the details on how you can measure the oxygen while you run at your maximum and so on. The reason is because I've never tried to do those things. I mean, at the time I didn't. Now I did one test, so I know somehow how does it work. It will be more interesting for me to read my test results with this book and be like, okay, this was my result. What's the average? And what's the minimum? What's the maximum? So I can compare my results, to those information. Otherwise, you're pretty much not only bored, but you're wasting your time, I would say. Instead, if you start from basics, you integrate those information into your journey, you will see a big increase of performance into your training and into your nutrition overall. And another important point is that you really have to learn how to tailor strategies around your individual goals. Because it's not only about listening or reading about how people did it, but it's really about you learning by yourself. How does it work? How can I apply this to my own specific needs and build upon that? All right, so concluding, what's the real value? Simple book, basic knowledge, get your foundation, and then apply that foundation to step up until you get more experience and you go for something harder that gets you the information to refine your skills and refine your knowledge for becoming a better athlete. Eventually, you're gonna learn one way or the other. So the point is, I mean, if you're a beginner, but you get excited about something like this, like I did, jump onto it. Maybe you cannot finish the book. Okay, fine. Well, you will leave it and then you will go back. There's no shame for that. You always have to leave a book when you cannot read it anymore. Don't force yourself to finish it. But if you are even an expert, you don't have time, you don't want to be overwhelmed, use the Simply Nutrition. That's going to be all you need. What's really important in all of this is that you have fun in your fitness journey and that you progress step by step without overwhelming yourself too much. And learning, it's a journey. I hope today I helped you make the right decision if going for the simple book or the hard book. Whatever it is, I know you will make the right decision. And remember, rise, conquer, repeat.